Hey everyone, Justine here, and welcome to day 2 of the 3 Cards 1 Stamp March series featuring the Botanical Love Stamp from Create a Smile Stamps. Today we're going to be creating this card by coloring on vellum. I'm going to be taking 3 of these flower stamp sets that come with the set, and I'm going to be inking them up in Versamark ink. I'm going to be stamping these twice on my vellum cardstock. Once on the bottom, as you can see I've already done, and once on the top. I didn't rearrange the flowers at all, I just turned the stamp press around. I then went back in, there was some empty spots, and I filled in another flower. I took my white embossing powder, this is ultrafine embossing powder from Ranger, and I spread it over the vellum. It's okay to heat emboss vellum, as long as you don't keep the heating gun on it or the craft heater on too long. So you got to make sure that it's nice and hot already before you apply it to the actual paper. If you have any extra vellum, you can take it off with a dry paintbrush. Not extra vellum, embossing powder, sorry about that. When the embossing powder is melted, you're going to turn it over onto the other side. So here you have your textured side and here you have your non-textured side. I'm going to go in with some Copic markers quickly and color this. You don't really have to bother about staying in front of the lines or in the lines because it's just going to be covered by the white embossing powder on the other side anyway. Okay, as I'm coloring this last flower here, you've been able to see exactly what Copic markers I've been using. I noticed that when I first started doing this card, you really need to use vibrant colors for this to work out really well for you. And as you can see, I accidentally colored a tiny bit of that orange flower onto the front of the vellum. That can happen really easily too. And so all you need to do is take a white gel pen, and that worked out really well. I folded my card base to make a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 top folding card. So you have a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock folded in half at 5 1/2 inches. I'm going to attach my vellum piece on here. Now in the end I ended up changing my mind and using a piece of colored cardstock as the background instead of just a plain white background. So if you want to add a colored background onto as your card base, then you don't want to do this step, and I'll show you how I fix that and everything as well. I wasn't too sure how vellum was going to fold, so I took my scoring tool and scored a 5 1/2 inch panel off of that piece. In the end, I wouldn't do that because it ended up cracking the vellum a little bit here, and so I don't recommend doing that. I recommend just folding it over and attaching it onto the back. So I attached it onto the back of my card, as you can see here. I'm not really concerned about what the back of the card looks like when I give my cards, so that didn't really bother me. But if that does bother you, using a colored background, as I'm going to end up switching to later, will end up benefiting you a lot, and you won't see those pieces at all. The next thing I did was stamp my sentiment, and I ended up stamping the Be Happy stamp from Create a Smile stamps from the stamp set, but I used a different B because I wanted it to be a little bit bigger than the Be Happy stamp that came with it. So I masked it off using washi tape so I didn't get any ink on that first B, and I stamped it onto my title. I liked having the B on top of the happy anyway because it fit better onto my card. This is where I decided that a blue background would look a lot better. So I used Island Blue cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, and I made the same card front as before, 4¼ by 5½. I trimmed down my white card panel that I used in the beginning and reattached it to my white card base, and then created this pop-out background, and I think the card really pops a lot better than it did before. So that was the end of my card today. Thank you so much for watching. And here I have a link to day 1's card featuring this stamp set, as well as another card that I made last week that I think is really pretty. And here you're welcome also to subscribe to my channel. Check out my blog for full supply details and clickable links. Thanks so much for watching.